Let's get things started. I'm going to invite Julian onto the screen in a second. A little bit more about Julian. He is a senior SEO manager at essentially a multi-location business called Asurion. They have sort of retail brands like iFix. They've got around 700 locations across the US. He also runs his own boutique digital marketing consultancy called Advertising Commissions, where he is the principal SEO consultant, and he works with a whole range of local businesses. So he can bring knowledge from both that kind of big brand that he works within, but also from his consultancy, sort of smaller local businesses as well. And again, he's going to be really focused on helping us understand how we can essentially mine the really valuable information we get in feedback and reviews so that we can gain actual insights and understand how we can modify our businesses, but also modify our positioning and our marketing so that we can gain traction, have more impact, reach more customers, and ultimately drive more revenue for our clients. So please join me in welcoming Julian to the screen.
Hey, Julian. Thanks for having me on. Super excited to talk to everybody.
Great, Julian. It is always a pleasure. Love talking to you. Always find you, a real sort of font of insight, particularly on the brand stuff. I don't get to talk to enough big brands, so I've always got a lot of kind of curious questions on that front. But I'm going to let you have the screen, and I will be back for the Q&A in about 20 minutes.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay. Whoops. There we go. All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining. And I have about 20 minutes, so I'm going to dive right in here. Today, I want to talk to everyone about mining your customer reviews for local SEO and even beyond that, just general business gains. Subtitle: Turning the voice of the customer into search visibility. Here's the agenda. I'm just going to talk about a little bit who I am, about identifying keyword-rich themes within your reviews, how to apply those keywords for on-page and off-page SEO, how to learn from your negative feedback. Don't let any one-star review go unutilized. How we're leveraging AI tools for efficiency to do all of the above, and then optimizing visibility across platforms. And we're going to talk a little bit about the LLMs and why it's becoming more important to have visibility across different platforms. And then a quick actionable kind of checklist at the end. So hopefully you can run through some of these things and hopefully positively impact your business. So who am I and why you should listen to me? My name is Julian Hooks. I started doing SEO in 2007, shortly after graduating high school. It is the only job I've had as an adult, is doing SEO. So I've been at this a long, long time. I've worked on SEO campaigns for the Atlanta Hawks NBA team, the San Francisco Giants, Villanova University, Beachbody, University of Notre Dame, some kind of big names. I spent a lot of times in the higher education. It's where I kind of got started after the affiliate marketing. And then I've just had kind of the opportunity through networking to work with some of these awesome organizations up here. I'm currently the SEO director. I got a promotion since I signed on to do this talk. So I am now a director at Asurion, as well as iFix by Asurion, and I manage over 700 franchise and corporate locations. And that's where a lot of this valuable insight and data comes from, is just having the opportunity to have access to that many locations and their SEO data. And side note, I'm a competitive power lifter, and my max squat is 672, bench 415, and deadlift 655, if you're into that kind of thing. So I want to jump right into identifying review themes and why they matter. Customers describe your business in their own words, and these phrases can reveal high converting SEO keywords. We all know reviews are a very, very important factor in your local SEO rankings. And I believe this is the case because everything in your GBP profile, you just fill out. Google just has to take your word for it that you're in the category you say you are, you do the services you say you do, and that you do them well. But Google loves to crowdsource information rather than just taking your word for it. And reviews are the best way for Google to do that. It's also one of the trickier things to kind of game if you're, going against guidelines. It's very easy for Google to tell fake reviews from real ones over, their algorithm and the data set that they have. When and where they act upon that in terms of, shutting stores down, that's up to them. But if you're in this for the long term and you plan on having a business next year and the year after that and the year after that, um, you know, getting reviews legitimately uh, is definitely going to be in your favor. And they're also a lagging indicator of how customers perceive your business. And so I want you guys to keep that in focus and not just think of reviews as a way to rank higher in Google. There's so much data and insight within them that you can use to improve your business. So what we're doing and what I've done is we scan reviews consistently for recurring language. So we're picking up themes. We're highlighting top adjectives, service descriptions, and value statements. And then we're actually able, since we're a large multi-location business, we're able to segment between different locations, whether it's states, specific owner groups of franchises we have, and we can report back to them because not every store is, local is local. Every location is kind of independent of the others. And so we like to be able to drill down in that sort of granularity. And I have some more slides on how we do this. I saw in the last talk, she brought up Plepper. For anyone who's on a budget, actually, this is a great tool for anyone, period. But this is a great tool for you to be able to analyze not only yours, but also your competitors' GBP profiles. And as far as this conversation is concerned, it allows you to download your reviews. You can also download the reviews of competitors. So if you have a ton of reviews and you're not at a stage where you're going to be plugging into Google's GBP API, which is kind of a lengthy process, this is the next best way to just scrape it. And that's plepper.com. So one of the things we like to use is using keywords from positive reviews and how we're leveraging those positive reviews. So when we're pulling in a ton of our reviews and we're finding specific keyword themes and phrases for the U-Break I Fix franchises, we see things like, same day phone repair, friendly or knowledgeable staff, fixed my iPhone fast. So as we see these phrases appear again and again and again, that tells us that this is something that, one, we're doing well. Um, and if there are certain pockets of stores or franchises that are not doing these things, then we can bring this to them and say, hey, these stores that are performing exceptionally well, keep having these themes show up in all of our reviews. And there are certain stores where we're not seeing this at all. So is there something missing here? Is there something that we can jump in and fix so we can make sure that these things are front and center as a business? And from the SEO standpoint, we can, incorporate these things because this is telling us that our customers find these things important. So are we incorporating some of these things into our H1s, into our content, into our SEO titles, our service blurbs, or meta descriptions to help increase our CTR to the websites? Are they in, alt text for certain pictures? Are we describing these things? And are we reinforcing these phrases within internal anchor text on the website? Now, there's a lot of, I don't know, there's a lot of people that I respect and I think are super, super smart that will tell you that keywords inside of reviews are not a ranking factor. I tend to differ, and I've seen this across a lot of different industries, and seeing as I have access to 700 plus locations, and I'm able to pull in this information and dissect it. I find that keywords in customer reviews, not your reply or responses to those customers, but the customer reviews do have a great impact on where you rank for specific keywords. So I have a couple screenshots, and I've seen this in a lot of different industries. But a simple search for best pasta near me, and if we start looking at what Google is showing, where they used to show services a lot here, now they're more and more showing reviews and less showing your services. They actually even used to have in this section right here, they would show website mentions. And I haven't seen that in a long time. So that just tells me Google is putting much more emphasis on these customer review verbatims, more so than, while it's still important to have keywords on your page, Google used to just display that as a justification for ranking. It would say, this website mentions pasta, and that's what would be here instead of the review. And then so we would see more, service is, I don't know if you would have pasta have a service, but it would have a service description there. And now more and more, I'm only seeing reviews. So best pasta near me, it's no wonder that pasta's in this review, is in this review, and pasta's in this review, as well as having good star ratings. If we look at the next one, veal, and what I did was I just looked at some of these, and then I took keywords from the review that was showing, and then I did searches on those specific keywords to see how different um, the SERPs would look. So Johnny's Italian has the veal parmesan review right here. So I just did a search for veal parmesan near me, and of course Johnny shows up first because they have that 5-star review of someone talking about veal parmesan, and then Umberto's of Long Island shows up, who was not in the previous subset of SERPs because they have excellent veal, chicken, and eggplant parm listed in one of their customer reviews. When looking at cheap Italian food near me, let's look at some of the reviews that are coming up. Huge portions of delicious food at a reasonable price listed in this review. The second review is best pizza. Can't beat those prices anywhere. And so this just tells me that Google is pulling information from these review verbatims and using them as a way to, justify, or using them as relevance factors for these businesses. You can see here, this has a 4.3, 4.5, 4.4. Nothing, if not super spectacular out of this world, but these reviews are giving more relevance than just a typical Italian food near me. And just one more, Fagioli near me, Julian, that's my name. Little Italy comes up, and they just happen to have a review right here that mentioned that, and they are number one. So I see this in a lot of different industries. So when people say it doesn't matter, keywords and reviews don't mean anything, I don't argue. I just I just go on ranking. So I hope that helps some people. Now, let's move on to learning from negative reviews. There's a ton of value in criticism. No one likes getting 1-star reviews, but a lot of the times they are very much justified. And a lot of the times they just come from miscommunication. Um, and those are simple things to fix if you're getting bad reviews because of miscommunication. Obviously, why it matters, frequent complaints highlight operational and content opportunities. You can use these to fix the issue if it's something happening in real time in the store, or if it's a tech or an employee or a manager or something that's happening in the store over and over and over. You need to identify these quickly and fix those, because those 1-star reviews are really, really detrimental to your business. And on top of that, reaching out to, part of fixing the problem is fixing your reputation with those customers. So being able to reach out and come to some type of an agreement. Hopefully they change the review. If they don't, they don't. But you'll be better for moving forward. Some ways that we use it is creating FAQ sections addressing frustrations. Like I said, a lot of the time the issue is a lack of communication. If you've got, important things buried, in the fine print, and you're seeing these things show up in negative reviews, that just tells you need to be more upfront about some of these things. Um, Rewriting service descriptions to clarify expectations. If people think that you're doing one thing or getting one thing, and it's actually different product or different service, or their expectations are just not aligned with what you actually do, then you need to be upfront about that and put it in your descriptions, put it on your landing pages, put it in the site so people understand and they know before purchasing that this is or is not what they're getting. And then, of course, using this for CRO tests and user experience updates to the site. If people are frustrated about something, try and fix it. run the CRO tests to see whether messaging works better or not. Some of these are a little advanced, but for the big multi-location places that do CRO tests and have the budget to change these things, we definitely recommend it, and it's something that we're constantly doing over on our side. Now, of course, using AI to scale. So AI powered review analysis. So what we've been able to do is, since we have our API from Google Business Profile, we're able to just pull in all our reviews into our cloud storage. We can run kind of AI summaries with Gemini or ChatGPT to find themes and flag outliers. And we've created custom dashboards for like keyword frequency and sentiment, so we're consistently kind of up to date on what's going on in the business or how our business is being perceived. And we can drill down to specific ownership groups, or maybe it's the corporate stores, or maybe it's regional, or it's one specific store or location that needs some help in one area, or maybe they're doing amazing and we find that out and we want to scale that and communicate that to the whole network of stores. And the outcome, obviously, it's saving tons of manual hours and it's repeatable across multiple locations. Now, if you're not at a level where you're, pulling in, information from GBP API and have, Power BI and these kind of advanced things in the background, this can easily be done, like I said, by just downloading your reviews. You can also download your customer reviews with a tool like Plepper. And then just upload that Excel file into ChatGPT and tell it to, look for themes or analyze these reviews, look for sentiment, tell me what we're doing right and what we're doing wrong. And it'll spit that data right back out for you. And if you're working, if you just got one location or a few locations, you only have to do that once a month, once every couple months, depending on how many reviews you're getting. And then you can kind of get that same analysis and sentiment analysis on a much smaller scale. So if we zoom in here, here's an example of something that I use and that I had a brilliant team of other people build for the organization. But this just pulls in our Google ratings and reviews, and it provides AI insights. And so we have a lot of techs, we have a lot of incentive programs for those techs to get reviews and things like that. So we can look at how many times an employee name is mentioned within a review. We can see what the average rating is when an employee's name is mentioned, whether it's good or bad, and we can use these things as superlatives or bonuses or anything like that. So I think that's something you owners should think about. Um, Incentive for your employees, never for the customer. For your employees, never incentivize customers to leave reviews. But things we look at are kind of review sentiment, positive, negative, mixed, neutral. And like I said, with the keyword themes, over here, we look at device mentions at eBreak, I think. So we want to see like what's the volume and what's the average star rating and what's the sentiment for iPhone repairs or just phone repairs or laptop or Galaxy or Xbox. So we can see if we're doing phenomenal with a specific device. And then we can go look, how are we ranking for Xbox reviews, knowing that we do phenomenal as far as the sentiment. And that's another one of the keys where I said keywords in reviews actually matter, because I can look at that data and see like, we are doing phenomenal in MacBooks, and I can go look at the rating for MacBooks because I can see that sentiment. And in this bottom section, we just have ChatGPT kind of aggregating the last 100 reviews and telling us the good, the bad, what can we improve on, and what should we do more of. And so this is just kind of an example of something that you can set up. And while it might not be this dashboard, it can certainly just be an Excel sheet with this information in it that ChatGPT can spit out for you pretty quickly. And I want to talk about not just don't stop at Google, multi-platform optimization. Google's still the big dog. It still has the majority of share of search. But LLMs and AI overviews, they aggregate reviews from a lot of different places, Yelp, Facebook, Reddit. And brand reputation and citations span multiple ecosystems. And the more people are going to use ChatGPT and Perplexity and some of these other places, the more it's going to be important for you to show up, not just in regular search, but in these other places where these LLMs are going to be heavily citing them. So you want to be able to monitor and optimize your presence on all platforms like you should have been doing anyway, but now it might just matter more in the next, now to 5 years from now. Ensure your name, address, phone consistency. This is less about ranking in Google and more about not having information that's wrong out there. If someone's trying to call you, you don't want them calling the wrong number. If someone needs the GPS to your business, you don't want the wrong address. And you don't want ChatGPT citing some old directory that you put out 10 years ago, 2 addresses ago, and now people are going to the wrong place. So you're going to have to use, a service like BrightLocal to ensure all that stuff, all your legacy stuff and citations are still accurate out there on the web. And then requesting reviews based on customer channel preference. So we talked a lot about Google. Google is very important, but it's not the end all be all. So if you don't have any reviews on Yelp, you have no presence on Facebook, you are going to come up short in some of these LLMs that are heavily citing some of these other places on the web. So there's lots of new AI tracking tools and companies out there right now. I don't know who's the best. I'm still testing a ton of them. This screenshot is from a company called Profound that I'm testing right now. And this is just, you can upload a bunch of prompts that you make up yourself that you have to guess your customers are searching. I just use similar stuff to the keywords that they're searching for now. But then it can spit out kind of a citation share by domain based on the prompts or keywords that you're putting in there. And so nothing new here is super, well, actually, Thumbtack is something that I would not have expected to show up. Yelp, super expect to show up, but just knowing that it's 448 times it's been cited, even more than our own website. And I put a lot of brand keywords in there. So knowing that Yelp is cited more than our own website when I'm putting in branded keywords tells me Yelp is going to be super important to make sure that we have updated and we're getting reviews and we have positive sentiment there. Reddit's, on the list, Wikipedia, there's a couple competitors because they're ranking for similar keywords. But this is something that you can kind of do on your own because Profound, it sounds like it's going to be expensive. But this is just, you're going to have to put in the work. You're going to have to run the queries. You can set it up in a Google Sheets or something. And that's another discussion, but you can run queries in Google Sheets and you can just rerun it every single day or every week or whatever and see what the output is. And you can track citations that way. Or you can look for a software provider that can do it for you. And quick actionable checklist. What I want everyone to do is just export your last 50 Google, Yelp, Facebook reviews, however many you have. Try to highlight the top 3 recurring positive phrases or themes, highlight the top 3 recurring complaints or themes, and then take that information and update your on-page copy on your website utilizing and highlighting those positive terms, and then add FAQs or clarifying statements for any of the negative patterns or miscommunications that customers are having. And if there's anything kind of in store that needs to be fixed with, managers or wherever, however they're interacting with customers, that would also be an added bonus outside of the SEO part. And then kind of schedule monthly review audits of these things so you can, be up to date with how customers are perceiving your business and take actionable steps to remedy them. Thank you, and I believe it is Q&A time.
Julian, thank you very much. That was great. I thought it was brilliantly kind of paced. You went through in such a great level of detail. You've taken everyone along the kind of journey with you. And as such, we've got some great questions. So it's all right by you.
Awesome, thanks.
I'm going to jump into the questions. And I've got a little funny, there's a great comment actually in terms of trying to link up your passion for weightlifting and your passion for Italian restaurants. You're basically carbo loading. So I thought that was a brilliant little connection that someone made in the kind of live chat. But let's go straight to questions. This one comes from Johnny. And I think this is actually reiterated a couple of times. And I wrote down myself, like, you guys are obviously really, really committed and understand the power of review. So how do you get it so you're getting lots of reviews, but also encouraging customers to leave reviews that you think are going to really help you from an SEO point of view?
Yep. So what I found is two specific ways. If it's an in-person ask, it comes across much easier. If the person asking, if there's a program or some type of incentive, or if the customer believes they're leaving the person a review, not the corporation or the business. I'm leaving a review for John, the person who assisted me, because I had a great experience. Now, if John is receiving the review, then it's simple for John to just say, "Hey, if I hope you had a great experience. It would be great for my career and my job here if you could leave me a review, and just say what I did for you." Or what I fixed for you in our situation, because that helps me personally in my career growth here. So they're not leaving the building, the corporation, the CEO that they don't know a review. They're leaving John a review on his service, or typically it's going to be service based in this scenario. Now, if you're sending out text messages or emails soliciting reviews after the fact, then it's just all about the questioning. So when you're instead of just asking for a review, how did we do? Or even worse, what could we have done better? Because now you're edging them to say something negative instead of leading them down the path of, did we do well? You just phrase a question and like, what did we fix for you? Or, how did we help you today? Or something of that nature. So it's just inherently them asking the question. It's like, oh, you guys fixed my laptop. You did an amazing job. I got it back next day. Or you guys fixed my cracked iPhone screen like same day. It was awesome. So it's just all about phrasing the question. So the answer naturally is going to include the product or service. And if that doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. But if you phrase it that way, if you just get a couple more than you normally would have, I think that's great. We should all be happy we're getting reviews anyway, so it's not overkill. But in the way you phrase the question, can help you get the right review.
And I guess following on from that, so you talked about obviously in person, that kind of personal touch, but then also the opportunity to kind of sort of follow up, I guess, not in person, digitally sort of somehow. What's your guys like kind of best performing set of cadences? And how do you kind of time that and get that to work? Do you maximize the reviews?
So in store at the point of sale, by far outperforms everything. And everything else technology-wise is just an after the fact. Maybe we can boost, our response rate by, 5, 10% or something like that. So it really is sometimes it's a psychological thing to ask someone for a review in person for fear of rejection, or failure. But I find that if you get over that and you just talk to people as people, it gets really, really easy to just ask for a review. And you just understand if they don't do it, it's not a personal attack on you. It's okay to hear no, and they say, or if they say sure and then they don't and they leave, like that's perfectly fine. But just simply asking, you don't expect them to do it, but you'll probably get double the amount of reviews. You'll probably 50% of people will probably say yes if they had a good experience. And if you don't ask, maybe only 10% of people will go out of their way to leave you a review, even though they had an exceptional service. So I find just that getting over that hump, that fear of rejection, and just a simple ask, 1, 2 sentences, can really transform your business.
And do you try and get it sort of while they're in store, the kind of immediate response time, or how do you handle?
Typically, because once they leave, they're on to the next thing. And so, we try with the SMSs and the emails after the fact, and they do great. And you shouldn't, you know, don't turn your nose up at that. If they want to leave a review, they will. If they won't, they won't. But the in store, because we're kind of at the point of sale, once they leave, who knows if you'll ever talk to them again. So it's kind of like you only have one chance while they're in store, so you kind of got to take it.
Yeah. Okay, great. Okay, let's go to the next question. If you're emailing asking for a review, what are your thoughts about using a middle page, I guess, to direct, the positives and the not so positives to kind of different places?
So not a fan. You're not supposed to review gate. So if your flow is to collect information and send it into Google, you're not allowed to only send the positive ones, view your middle page, and then send the thumbs down to a different flow. So don't do it.
Yeah. So you don't do that at
Um,
all?
no, no, no.
No. Yeah. Okay. Next question.
And on the face, if a lot of the times, if that is the case, I don't know. A lot of people, I mean, Darren from White Spark was doing that. He was asking people for 4-star reviews because he only had 5 stars and he wanted it to seem more realistic because it just seems fake if everyone's happy. And I thought it was an interesting experiment. I don't know what came of it, um, but yeah, um,
Okay.
just let it be. Just let it be natural. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I would say. I wouldn't send customers different routes based on their experience. You kind of got to take the good with the bad.
Fair enough. I'm going to jump over and give Darren a 1-star review. No, I'm next question. Negative feedback is often the most insightful. What's your advice for creating a company culture where negative feedback is seen as not as a criticism, but as a valuable gift for improvement? That is an excellent
uh,
question.
yeah, it is. It is kind of tough. I'm not going to lie. Because working with franchisees, they're their own businesses. These are their businesses that they own, and so I'm just a marketing guy. So when kind of we not collide, but overlap in the area of this is good for SEO, but you are running your business the way you see fit, then we kind of have that middle ground where it's like, I understand a lot of customers are just pissed off and maybe it's not warranted. Maybe this 1-star review isn't warranted. Maybe they had every opportunity or you did everything you could to please it, but you still have the 1 star. We know that's part of the game. But you have to understand your competitors are having those same interactions with customers too, so that kind of levels the playing field. But it's really, I want to say it's easier if it's top down, but to be honest, from me, I hammered this for years in this organization. Every meeting I was in that had anything to do with rankings or local SEO, I talked about reviews. Whether it was a sentence, a slide, or anything. So for several years, you couldn't talk to me without me talking about reviews at least once. And now that is slowly pretty much permeated through the entire company where everyone understands this is the number one local ranking factor in my estimation, that with like your business name and category. But if you want to be around for the long haul, like it's reviews, great for Google, but it's also your business. Like it's not just it's Google. If you have negative reviews, that means people don't like your business. If people don't like your business, you're not going to make a lot of money. So that should
Great.
be enough for
Yeah.
the culture to understand our customers don't like us. We need to change.
And that's why I think topics like this are not just important from an SEO perspective. They're important from a business culture perspective. Like recognize and you see, a negative feedback as something you can act on. Like it's something you can change because it's happening in your business. You can't ostrich it and stick your head in the ground and forget and not pretend it's not happening. It is genius. And to be fair, you've been obviously, you've been in the drum about reviews for a long time. That probably has led directly to business success, and you've just got a promotion, which I forgot to say. Huge congrats on
Thank you,
doing that.
appreciate
So,
it.
yeah. So not only are reviews good for SEO, they are also good for your career if you are a champion of them. I think that's all we've got time for, Julian. But before you go, please talk to us about the charity that we are supporting with you today.
Yes, yes. So I picked Donors Choose, and the reason I went with this is I asked a lot of people like what charities should I pick for this, and I got some responses. And what I ended up doing, I forget the website, but I Googled, I looked for there's a website that tells you what percentage of donations to these 5013Cs go towards administrative costs. and what percentage go to what you're donating for. And Donors Choose with 100% of it or 99% of it goes to the actual person. So what it is teachers from across the world who need help funding their classrooms for school supplies, all sorts of things, go on there and create campaigns. And so the money you donate goes specifically to a person, a child, a classroom, and you can pick between, $20, $10, or $100, and you can fund a specific classroom, teacher, or child, which I thought was amazing. And
Yeah. Well,
or you can choose to donate to the organization for their staff so they can continue running. So either way, but 50% of your donation isn't going to go to administrative fees or the president of the nonprofit.
yeah. I don't know why I'm laughing at that, but that is a great way to sort of select a charity, and I love the way you've optimized your choice there. Julian, thank you again. It's always a total pleasure hearing from you and talking to you. Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom and experience with us today. I feel like we've come away with some really great insights and some really good qualification about things that we think we knew, but you provided some data to make us feel kind of more confident in that. So thank you very much again. Have a great rest of your day.
Awesome. Thank you for having me. Hope everyone enjoyed.